Hi again, my name's Laura, and I wanted to talk to you about the top 5 plants that I coveted the most. Um, you might actually say obsess. So I buy a lot of my plants online just for the reason that I don't have a great nursery around here. There is a pretty good one, but it's about 20 miles away. I love going there, but I try not to go there too often because I'm running out of places to put my plants. So for that reason, I buy a lot of my plants online. And I've had pretty good luck finding most of the plants that I've been looking for. But there have been some that have taken me several months to find, sometimes a couple of tries. Once I tried to buy a plant from an online seller, and a couple of months later, it just was never delivered. Luckily, I got my money back and I found the plant. So I'm going to go over these plants in no particular order, just the ones that are sitting closest to me. And let me know what you think. So we'll start over here. So this is my Monstera adansonii Swiss cheese plant. And this is a plant that I think I've probably had for about a year. I was lucky enough to get a pretty good specimen. I've actually sold some cuttings of this plant on Etsy. And they go for a pretty good price, I guess. But I don't remember how much I paid for this one. But this, I just really love. I mean, I love Monstera plants anyways. And this plant, I just love the holes. I love how it trails. It's really easy to grow. Right now I have it close to a south-facing window, but kind of not in direct light. So maybe it could be a little bit brighter. I can't find a good. There we go. So this is a plant that I really love. It looks like it needs to be pruned a little bit, maybe cut off some of the yellowing, which sometimes that can mean that you're overwatering it, and I wouldn't be surprised if I am. I've been trying to cut back because of the season here, and most plants need a little bit less water in winter. But you can see it's overall doing pretty good. There's a new leaf. There's a couple of them actually, and when I did propagate this, I just cut a vine off, stuck it in water, and it grew roots. Magic. So that's one of my favorite ones. Took me a couple of months to find it for sure, especially at a good price. A lot of these plants you can find if you're willing to pay hundreds of dollars for them. So on to the next one, which you can see here. And I know that I'm not the only person who covets this plant, but this is the good old Monstera Albo Variegata, so variegated Monstera. And this plant, it took me months to find, especially at a good price. You know, and again, you could probably find a small specimen of this plant for like $225. This, I think I paid $90 for it. I got it from an online retailer. And it's not the most variegated plant, but I've also kind of had it all over the house. There's a pretty good variegated leaf. So at first it was in my sunroom, which gets a lot of sun, but it gets cold out there. And this wasn't a plant that I was about to let die. So I've been moving it all over. Recently, I have put it in front of actually a north-facing window, but right in front of the window. And it's doing really well. I don't know if you can see up here, but I actually chopped off a couple of leaves and stems in sort of an experiment to see if I could encourage some more variegation. Because there was a stem above here where there was no variegation on the leaves, and I thought that maybe it had reverted. So this is a new leaf that's coming out, and you can't really see it, but there is definitely going to be some variegation on this leaf, so I'm very, 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 very excited. And also, the stem that I cut off that is currently rooting in water, it put out a new leaf pretty much immediately, and that leaf is variegated too. And that cutting is in a south-facing window. So we'll see. So this is one of my favorite plants. Oh, looks like there's another new leaf coming out over here. So I'm not the only one who loves it. I love it. I love looking at it. I love thinking about it. And I'm really glad that I found it. So this is another one that was hard to find. So this is a Tradescantia Tricolor, I think. I saw a picture of this on Instagram or something, and I was just immediately became obsessed with the pink leaves, the trailing habitat, and I just love it so much. I actually found, these were not very expensive. I found them online for, I think I bought 3 for maybe $9, either total or each. I don't really remember. And they're all doing pretty well. I mean, these plants, they have a tendency to get really leggy, and so sometimes to have some brown leaves on the vines. And so you can cut them back and you can root them. You can make them become a little fuller. But so anyways, I bought 3 specimens. They're doing pretty well. I've cut them back, pruned them, and oh, here's the kitten. Curious. And this one, I actually was just walking through a little garden center on a summer day, and boom, there it was. So this one is actually a newer specimen. It's doing really well. This is in a southeast facing window, but it gets a lot of indirect light. And as you can tell, it's pretty happy. I really love this plant. And I don't water it too often, maybe once a week or so. This pot doesn't have great drainage, so I'm careful about that too. But I really like the hanging planter too, which I think I got at Target. So that's one. Now, just allow me to be a little basic for a minute. So this is my pink princess philodendron. This plant I coveted for probably over a year. I love this plant. I love it. I love it so much. I guess I really like pink plants, but I don't remember where I finally found it, but I got a pretty good specimen. And as you can see, it's in a terracotta pot. I think I had it in a dark area for a while, so it maybe is a little leggy. I've recently moved it into a south-facing window, and the variegation has improved. The plant looks a little happier. I've actually taken a couple of cuttings from this, and I've rooted it, and I've sold them for a pretty good price. I feel like I made my money back on this plant. And so I took one actually recently from here, and so when it grew back, it just grew upwards. But this plant, the new growth tends to be a little darker, as you can see, and the pink really comes out on some of the older leaves. So, but I find it to be beautiful. I love philodendrons anyway. And this is obviously one of my favorite ones. It has a place in my bedroom because I want to look at it when I wake up, and I love it so much. So here, you can look. Beautiful, huh? And now another Monstera plant is I guess we'll call it a mini Monstera, or a Monstera ginny. I cannot say the actual name of this plant, tetrasperma, perhaps. But this is a plant that as I said before, I love Monstera plants. I love the Variegata, the leaves with the holes in them. I love how big they get, although I don't have a lot of room. And so I saw this plant and I said, oh my goodness, I have to have it. And I looked online, couldn't find it. They're a little easier to find now because I don't think I'm the only one who's obsessed with it. But this one, I forget where I finally found it, but I had a couple of trial runs. I bought a cutting that died as soon as I planted it, unfortunately. And but I ended up finding a pretty good specimen. And so when I bought it, it was probably about this tall. And just in the past maybe 6 months, look at what it's done. So I actually need to find a better solution for this plant. I just have a stake that it's kind of climbing up, but I probably need to repot it into a bigger pot and probably need to find a better way for it to climb. But it puts out a new leaf, I think like once a week. So it's doing really well. I don't water it too much. This is a plant that if you look really closely and you've overwatered it, you'll actually see some little droplets of water on the end of the leaves. I forget what that's called when they do that. But, it tells you if you're watering it too much. But it's also a plant that's native to the rainforest. So, it likes humidity. It likes kind of filtered sunlight. So that's where I have mine. Actually, probably maybe has a little too much, but seems to be happy. And this isn't one that I worry about overwatering too much, but, that's probably another topic. So this one I usually water twice a week, and it seems to be happy. Very tall. The cat messes with it a little bit. So, but I am really glad to have finally found it. And this is another one that after I spent hours looking online, one day I went to my favorite little garden center and there it was. I think it was $30. So I actually have 2 The second one is downstairs. It's not doing as well. I think it probably needs a little bit more light, but it's not doing badly either. It just, it's not like this one. It's not climbing at an alarming rate. But I really love this plant. I hear it's really easy to take cuttings of, but I haven't done that. Like I said, I bought a cutting of that plant and it didn't do well, and so I'm a little nervous about doing that. And I wouldn't want to sell it to somebody else and have the cutting die. So those are the plants, or some of the plants that I've been obsessed with. I have many more. Someday we'll talk about them. But for now, these are the ones that I look at and they make me very, very happy. And also, as a benefit, they're pretty easy to take care of, which I guess is what you're looking for. So if you have any questions, ask me. Thanks for listening. Bye.